Well, listen, this is another example of what happens when you have a proliferation of guns in the hands of people that shouldn't have them. Morgan State, let me be very clear, is a treasure, not just in Baltimore, not just in Maryland, but for this country. And we won't let this incident outshine the light that Morgan puts out each and every day. We're very proud, we're Morgan proud, we're Bear proud. However, this again, people are going to have basic conflict. That's going to happen. But time and time again, not just on the campus of Morgan State or any other college around this country, not just in the city of Baltimore, where we are seeing a 15% reduction in homicides this year, that's going to happen. Conflicts are going to happen. But when people who do not have the maturity to own or even have in their hands a handgun, have access to them, this is what happens. And this is why I'm going to continuously say that this is a national epidemic that we have to deal with at the national level. Local leaders like myself, we're going to continue to do the work that we do each and every day. Our police department, at my direction, has seized over 2,100 illegal guns this year, a 10% increase over last year. Our violence intervention workers are out there working each and every day. However, when you're talking about a national epidemic that has existed longer than I've been alive, on the heels of us having a COVID-19 pandemic that came out of nowhere, where we did not spare any expense in protecting American lives, gun violence needs to be treated the same exact way.
Is it your understanding that this was the result of a conflict?
We know that there was some kind of altercation, and that's what led to the shooting. And that's all we can say at this point.
Do you know if there were students involved in terms of the people who were shooting?
We do not know that information. We're going to be investigating. Obviously, there's a lot of witnesses, a lot of folks that we're talking to, and we'll put information out as is appropriate.
There was we've seen several of the videos of SWAT, members of the SWAT team going into dorm rooms, and there have been concerns expressed on social media about the optics of that. What do you say? Yeah, listen, it's something that we never wish we had to do, but it's a necessary thing. When you have young black women and men who are running for their lives when the shooting happens, and there's a chance that that person that may have done that is inside that building, you have a duty to go through and search that building appropriately to make sure that someone who isn't clearly armed and dangerous isn't there. But also, I would say, to add on to that, we have to be more responsible, and folks shouldn't be filming that, right? And that includes the media. We can't get into this trauma porn thing where we're sharing these things over and over. We have to allow folks to do their job. Those children are already traumatized enough by the incident, and then having to go through that necessary exercise with the police to make sure that they and everyone else at Morgan's campus were safe. We don't need to be showing that over and over again at all. But it's an unfortunate thing. But if it were, when you hear from parents and folks, they would want the police department checking each and every solitary room of that building to make sure that someone that shot at their child who's a student or shot their child is looked for in the appropriate and very thorough way. Some of the students who had to run, we spoke to them this afternoon. They said they heard that perhaps the suspect may have ran into the building with them, which was part of the reason why the SWAT team was there. So when you have that information on the ground, again, is that what you're hearing as well?
I had not heard that, but what I do know is that our SWAT team is one of the best, and they're very professional, and they're going to make sure that they're doing things in accordance with how we operate, but also in accordance with the most important thing, and that's the safety of the public.
We had a local council member, who put on social media earlier today that they heard that there were 3 shooters, or 3 people who might have had a weapon shooting into the crowd. What can you tell us about that?
What I'll say again is that I don't listen to social media chat. I go by what is in the facts of the case, and that's still under investigation. We know that there were probably multiple shooters. When we know how many, and we know for certain, and we're able to share that without compromising the investigation, we will put that information out.
So we can now say you believe, the city believes there are multiple shooters?
Yeah, we put that out earlier today, actually, in a press conference. The police commissioner said that.
Okay, and then in addition to that, have you identified any suspects at all? Anything the public can do to help you?
All that is still under investigation. Anybody that was there and have information, we want them to make sure that they are calling here in Baltimore. They can call the police department to make sure they can actually call the Northeast District, or simply dial 911, and we will get them the correct person to talk to. We want to share every single solitary piece of information. They can send that to the police department on social media. However they need to get it to us, get it to us.
One of the students we spoke to today said that, this was supposed to be a week where we celebrate Black excellence, especially last night, and it became a nightmare.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I say to that young person that I feel their pain and I'm sorry, but I want them to realize that they are still Black excellence, and handling it the way that the students have handled this showcases Black excellence, and we showcases also the work that we have to remain before us, especially for Black people, that there can be conflict and that we can be better amongst ourselves, but the students at Morgan State University are one of the utmost examples of Black excellence that there is, and as I said before, we will not let the actions of a few outshine the bright light of the many that are at Morgan and have came up and through Morgan.